I've spent the last few days trying out the latest release from Tom Ford, which is Noir Extreme Parfum. I'm going to let you know what I think of it, how it compares to the EDP, and if you need to own both. Stay tuned. A lot of you really seem to enjoy Tom Ford's Noir Extreme, which is a creamy, spicy, sweet fragrance, notable for having this gourmand-like dessert note called kulfi, which is a sweet, spicy, creamy pistachio ice cream-like dessert, which I believe originates from India. So the brand new Parfum also has this kulfi note. It also comes in this very attractive, very bling, shiny gold bottle. The notes are cardamom, neroli, ginger, mandarin orange, citruses, kulfi, jasmine, Bulgarian rose, orange blossom, vanilla, leather, suede, amber, gaiac wood, cedar and tonka bean. So on my skin, this one has an even spicier opening than the EDP. The cardamom seems to be more noticeable, it pops more, and also there's a little bit of ginger, and I think maybe it's the ginger that just seems to really lift things off the skin. It's got that quality to it, so really nice, poppy, spicy opening. And what I find very noticeable right from the get-go when you first spray this fragrance is it has much more depth and intensity than the EDP. It's got more weight to it. It's a much woodier fragrance. In fact, the woodiness in this fragrance has a sort of pencil shavings effect, so like sweet pencil shavings. That's a good thing. That is definitely not a negative. I love woody fragrances that have that pencil shavings intensity. For me, it's a complexity that I really enjoy. So the extra woody depth that I'm finding in the Parfum is really working for me. What is also working for me is this is a more robust fragrance. It's got a slightly rougher edge to it than the EDP. It's not quite as smooth, and I love that because it just gives it a little bit more attitude. I feel like there's a bit more going on with it, and personally I find this style of fragrance more interesting. I do just have to say it is not poles apart from this fragrance. I'm really sort of diving quite deeply into this. They do smell quite similar, especially in the air, but overall I would say the EDP is a little smoother. It's a bit more powdery, and the florals are more prominent in the EDP. I don't really pick up on the florals as much in the Parfum. So if you're not a florals kind of guy, then I think perhaps the Parfum might be a better version for you. The other reason why this fragrance is maybe a little more robust and has that rougher edge to it is the leather. There are two different types of leather. There's leather and suede. I'm not quite sure what the differences are between those two. I guess suede is often thought of as being a little smoother, and a leather note is maybe a little harsher. I wouldn't say the leather is harsh in this fragrance. It is harsher than the EDP because this one doesn't have any leather in it as far as I know, but it's still a fairly smooth fragrance. It's not a deal-breaking kind of leather. It's not a Tuscan leather kind of leather that's going to put people off. So whilst the leather is noticeable in this fragrance, I don't feel it ever dominates or overtakes things. It blends pretty smoothly with all the other notes, and I feel like its main job is to just add depth and weight to the fragrance, and overall it makes it a much more serious fragrance than the EDP. Of course, I had to do the wife test to get the all-important female opinion, and with this having leather in, I was a little bit worried that she might not like this one as much, and that was the case. But when she first smelled these, I had them on my hands and she was smelling them really up close, and she was back and forth and she liked them both, and it took her a little bit of time to think about it, and after a few minutes of smelling both, she finally decided that she did just prefer the EDP because she found it a little sweeter and creamier, more powdery, just overall just a little easier on the nose. But the next day I wore the Parfum, I gave it a full wearing, and I'd had this on for around about 5 hours. I'd been out, I'd been walking around town, and then I came back into the house, and I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't really smelling it too much on me. I wasn't really getting those wafts, but I was in the kitchen and Helen walked into the kitchen and she said, "Which one are you wearing today? Because I really like it." And she doesn't often ask me what I'm wearing. She'll give me her feedback if I ask her opinion. But more often than not, she doesn't stop to ask me what I'm wearing unless she really likes it. And I said, oh, it's the Parfum. It's the one with the leather in that you said you preferred the EDP version of. And she said, oh, it smells different in the air. And that's the key thing, I think, when we're testing these fragrances. Most people want to know what these fragrances smell like in the air. You know, this scent bubble around you, the sillage, whatever, because the majority of people, including yourself, when you're wearing it, you're not going to be smelling your skin all the time. And if you do go close up on the skin, it's going to reveal slightly different things to how it comes across in the air. So in the air, the leather wasn't quite as noticeable, and my wife really enjoyed this smell on me. Now, the all-important question: do you need to own both of these? Well, no, of course you don't. You don't need to own any fragrances, really. It just depends on your personal preferences. But if you already own the EDP, is it worth spending the quite considerable amount of money to purchase the Parfum? I would say probably not, in my opinion. If I was to only own one of these, if I didn't own either and I wanted to buy one of the Noir Extreme fragrances, I would probably just slightly lean towards the Parfum because it just plays into my likes a little bit more. I like the extra complexity, the punchiness, the attitude, the extra weight that it has. Like I said, it comes across as a more complex, serious fragrance. So yes, for me, the preference would be this one, but they do both smell quite similar. If you already own this, maybe you want to own them both. You've just got to go into a store and check, but I would say probably there is no need to own both of these. One of the big questions you would ask yourself when it comes to having both these fragrances is it worth it because of the price? No Tom Ford fragrances are cheap. As a designer brand, they are really pushing the boundaries about how much we want to spend on designer fragrances. They're definitely up at that high end. The Parfum, even more so, because this 100ml bottle is £165. So we're sort of getting into niche prices here. I went for the 100ml bottle because I thought, I think I'm gonna like this fragrance, and I do. I'm glad I've got the 100ml bottle. Not that I'm ever gonna use it all, but I went for the 100ml. And if money's not really an object to you, then yeah, maybe you want to have both, because I guess this being a little bit more serious, you could perhaps wear it for more formal occasions or occasions when you want more of a statement making fragrance, because this one definitely is a little more easygoing and the Parfum is leaning a little bit more towards being a statement making fragrance. So if you've got the money and you really love this and you want a version of this that maybe will get noticed a little bit more because it is a bit stronger, and you want a version of this that you could wear for more formal occasions, then you know, yeah, you may want to get the Parfum. Do I think it's worth it? Am I glad I spent £165 on this? Only just. Tom Ford has really pushed the boundaries on the price of this fragrance, and I do really enjoy it and I will wear it. So yeah, I guess. But I think a lot of people aren't going to be comfortable spending that amount of money on a designer fragrance. So overall, I like it. It's a spicier, woodier, more intense version of the EDP. You could perhaps maybe wear it in slightly different situations. I think it's a very good release from Tom Ford, and yeah, I'm glad I've got it. So there are my thoughts on the brand new Noir Extreme Parfum. Have you tried this yet? What are your thoughts? Do you think the price is too high, or are you absolutely fine with what this fragrance costs? Let me know if you like it. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do all that, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.